Welcome back.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good evening, good night.
How was everybody's afternoon? How's everybody's evening going? How are you guys doing?
Don't even want to talk about it really, but
What are we talking about?
what happened? Was there some tournament going on?
What happened?
What did happen?
Are you guys talking about what I'm thinking about?
I think so.
Right? Yeah.
I think so.
Sad as it is, but
yeah.
hey guys, come on. It was an amazing game of cricket. No? What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
was a thriller.
Yeah.
It was a nail biter. It was that last minute kind of.
Yeah.
I'm just sad they couldn't pull out.
They had. I mean, they kind of got lucky on the second last ball with that edge. It's for four.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
The outside edge was very,
but
very.
that was kind of just the way their approach was.
Yeah.
The whole game they were really going after the bowlers. They weren't holding back from the first ball. They were ready to go.
Yeah.
They really showed their intent right away. They were there to win the game, and they did just that.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Welcome to Pitch Perfect, guys. Today we're talking about the Asia Cup semifinal, basically, right? It was a Super 4 game, but it was pretty much a semifinal game
Pretty much a semifinal,
both the teams.
Yeah.
An amazing cricket game. Went to the last ball, where it was a nail biter.
Yeah.
Could have gone either way. It was not looking like it, but at the end, it seemed like it was like tipsy topsy this way, then tipsy topsy that way.
Had they gotten the wickets a little earlier, I feel it would have been they would have easily pulled them back. But that middle partnership between Mendes and Lanka.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that really pulled the game for them.
Really pulled the game. At the end, Sri Lanka just won by one raindrop.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Oh yeah.
There's Hollywood, there's Bollywood, and then there's Pakistan cricket team, right? The entertainment factor is always there.
Yeah,
so for them to reel it back in from the position
drama
they were in,
they bring.
Yeah.
With that logo on their chest.
But why do they always either just lose, or why do they always have to bring it so close? 2 balls away from winning.
Boys played well. That's one thing you have to say.
I think
definitely
boys played well. I think adrenaline is the most is like a national sport for Pakistan.
I think they wanted to win it, right? I mean, both sides wanted to win it, right? Now, the conditions changed quite rapidly, right? You seen what the ball was doing, in the first innings. You seen what the ball was doing. The ball was doing the talking, and the bowlers were making it talk. But they were definitely getting help from the pitch, right? But you can't overlook the fact of, look what we got. The match starts at 3 a.m. You try to stay awake, and then it doesn't really get started till like 5 a.m. right? So first of all, that's a bummer, right? Like that's been the underlying story of this whole entire Asia Cup, right? And to me, I say that you can plan a gully tournament better than this Asia Cup was planned. Okay, so let's can't take anything away from Sri Lanka. Like amazing. They, I knew they were going to dog it out. I was talking to Ans and I said, whatever the result is going to be too close to comfort, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be too close to comfort. Obviously, I had Pakistan winning. That didn't happen, but we got darn close, even with the situation that you were given. Yeah. Right?
To be honest, if you think about it, Sri Lanka played an amazing game. No doubt.
Amazing game.
Sri Lanka is I've always considered them a dark horse of Asia, especially in recent 3-4 years. They really pulled themselves back from where they were 3-4 years ago, and they rightly. Both teams deserved to be in the final. It was just a matter of who is the better team today. And Sri Lanka pulled it, like I said, by an inch. They just march on to the final. But it just has not been Pakistan's tournament at all, to be honest. It is not being
especially
Pakistan's tournament from the
the last
get-go.
minute sickness and injuries, 5 changes, and then two of those changes got reversed because of Saud Shakil getting injured or getting sick, and then Imam also having back spasms, which is very unfortunate.
Was he dropped,
so
or was he having back spasms?
Back spasms because they dropped Fakhr. When they announced the 11, they dropped Fakhr, and they had to put him back in, and he looked just as uncomfortable as he did.
But starting from getting stripped off of home series, then coming in, getting hit with the rain on important games, then off to injuries, then off to a nail biter that could have gone either way, but ended up going to the Sri Lanka. Now. And Sri Lanka moves on to the final.
Yeah.
Good game.
Hats off to them.
Good series.
We haven't had a single India versus Pakistan Asia Cup final because of Sri Lanka. So that just tells you the type of mentality they have, the type of team they are. So if you ask about the top two teams in Asia, or Southeast Asia, everybody's gonna say Pakistan, India, right? But nobody really considers Sri Lanka, but they prove everybody wrong every
Sri
time.
Lanka has been Pakistan's kryptonite for ages, literally.
Yeah. They always, especially at the big moments, right? They always find a way to win, and they just fight every game. So they play hard every game. So really, hats off to them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think you guys need to also give credit to the boys in green. The fight, they fought till the very, very last minute, right? Now, I'm going to sound like a broken record constantly saying about this, but did you guys see the crowd involvement in the last, few overs of the game? Like, this is supposed to be
throughout,
a Pakistan home series, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, here's another thing. Like, I mean, we lost, wins or loses, like it happens, right? But if you look at the Pakistan teams or Babar Azam's, like there's an article on Cricinfo, you can dig it up. If you look it up and you see his schedule of his schedule of moving around, the amount of traveling that they've had to do is unbelievable, right? That does take toll on the players as well, right? So first of all, I don't think, like, even if you are an Indian fan, but before we are fans of our countries or whatever, we're fans of the game of cricket, right? And I want any fan out there, if you're a fan of cricket, to really ask yourself, right, was this a tournament that was a success in terms of the way that it was planned out? And that was mainly due to politics. It had nothing to do with the gentleman's game. The way that it was planned, like I'm saying, people plan their weddings better than this tournament was planned.
But so let's the big questions now are, Pakistan hasn't announced a squad for World Cup. It's only 3 weeks away. You are exactly 3 weeks away from your first World Cup game. You have 2 warm-up games before that. I'm not sure about the deadline of when they have to provide their 15 by, but do you, I guess, assuming Haris and Naseem are healthy, do you make any changes to the 15 other than Amir, because we know he's not coming back, and Imad Wasim? Do you make any other changes to the squad? Do you add any?
With PCB, anyone could come back. I mean, Inzamam might pad up in the World Cup.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Inzamam's actually playing right now.
Yeah, he might pad up in the warm-up games.
They're gonna get a lot of criticism, right? I don't think there's gonna be a lot of changes there. I don't think so, right? One thing you do is you drop Fakhar Zaman. He can be part of your squad that you take there, but he's not in your playing 11 at this point. He does not deserve to be there. He chipped in 4 from 11 today, right? That's been the story. Like he just sucked this tournament. He was not able to find his form at all. I don't even think he went to double digits once. I
think Abdullah Shafiq just solidified his spot in the team, don't you think?
Absolutely, and Abdullah Shafiq, and if you got Imam, I think that's a good opening pair right there.
I don't know if I would open with those two though. That's because they're very similar in types of strike rate. So Abdullah Shafiq,
I mean,
if
top of the order, you can mix and match, right? Maybe experiment with
so,
Haris or
who
whatever you
then
want.
you think maybe
So
Rizwan can come open and he can come forward, but even then Rizwan's a little slow too. You still need a guy who can kind of make use of the first power play because that's exactly what Sri Lanka did today. If you compare our power play to theirs, they really utilized the fact that there weren't boundary fielders there, and any ball that was wide or full, they went after it. You know,
but this, my friend, it's not because they have better talent. It's the thing that we were talking about last time. It's mentality, right? Their
it's a style
coach.
of play too. It's not just mentality. It's a
Yeah,
style of
but
play.
but
Like Abdullah
but
Shafiq
if you
likes to
go
take his
look,
time.
they ended up losing. Fakhr Zaman ended up losing his wickets anyways, trying to preserve his wicket the whole time. You know how explosive he could be. If your regular approach is not working, just go for it. At that point, just go for it. Do some. You'll maybe do a little bit more than that, right? So yeah, of course, the style of play from some players is going to come, but you know, this is ODI cricket, right? So you do have a little bit of time to get settled, and then you can still take advantage of the power play, right? You don't have to just go after everything, right? So if you send someone like maybe Haris up the order, maybe you're sending out the wrong message that hey, you just got to go after it, right?
Right.
I don't really know how you go about it, but yeah, definitely
So
some
you
changes.
would open with Abdullah Shafiq and Imam, and then Haris for Aga. Is that what you have?
Yeah, Agha is gone too. Is gone. So let's take from the top to the bottom. Let's start from the
Right.
toss today. Pakistan won
Yeah,
the toss and they batted
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
And given the circumstances, Pakistan actually, with Abdullah Shafiq scoring a 50, Pakistan actually started off well.
Yeah.
Even
Good
though.
partnership, and then Babar got that ripper from Baralage again
Mm,
and got stumped. Really good stumping, and
mhm,
then you have a rebuild happen after that
yeah.
between Rizwan and Iftikhar. Really.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
So, did what do you guys think about the top order? Top order's performance. Pakistan's top order performance with. Okay, if you look at the top order, there was only one change with Abdullah coming in the place of Imam, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So with that, do you think we improved, or do you think we were still the same in a sense that we need to still improve our top order strength a little bit? And do you
I think
think?
that's exactly what Hassan was saying, right? That he would be okay with this pair as well. Instead of Fakhr, he would have Imam there,
Mhm,
right? If he's healthy,
mhm,
he would be okay with that pair. So one down Babar, four Rizwan. I think Rizwan is doing really well on that spot. Number
mhm,
four, five. You have Iftikhar or Nawaz if he's in the 11.
mhm,
If you maybe need to pick up the strike rate, you send Nawaz ahead of Iftikhar. And then you go from there. There's also Haris, right? If he's playing, you can also include him in there as well. So that middle order is a little flexible, right? You have Nawaz, Iftikhar, Haris, or if Agha Sulman is playing, then he's there, right? So
okay.
essentially my question was that you're not making any changes from the current 15, considering Haris and Naseem are healthy. You're not including the likes of Zaman or the likes of Dhani or any other player that's not there at the moment.
Mhm,
yeah. So you have to give credit where credit is due, right? You've seen Zaman Khan, excel in his bowling in PSL, death overs. He's been really really good, but for his debut match to come and really bowl the last few overs, like that was incredible. And
Yeah,
you knew how hard he was trying because when he got that unfortunate outside edge that raced away to the boundary, you see him on his knees, and he kind of knew that he lost it there. But that match could have been over way before that. it
oh
was
yeah.
it was
yeah,
you wish you saw more disciplined bowling from the Pakistan bowlers a lot earlier than we did in the death.
yeah.
If they found that line and length, and if Shaheen wasn't trying too hard early in the innings, the results could have been different. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
And
that's a big problem with him that he doesn't adjust with the new ball. He doesn't make an adjustment quick enough to stop the leakage. So this is multiple games this has happened where if the ball is not swinging or he's unable to control the swing, he still continues to bowl those, full balls, and he ends up bowling full tosses or just right under the bat, going for leaking runs. So that adjustment really needs to happen quickly. Maybe that's a bowling coach thing that they need to like maybe instill into all the bowlers that, hey, if it's not working for you, if your plan A is not working, we understand that your 90% of the time you get us a wicket first over in that plan, or whatever the percentage is. But if it's not working for you, you pivot and you switch it to this, because dot balls in the middle were so crucial when so many times we up the required rate to 7, only to then bowl a full toss or a short ball that goes for a boundary to then go back to back to run a ball, and which really they stayed in the game, they kept the chase on, and so many doubles and singles they stole from the fielders that nobody was really throwing the ball hard. So that's what I mean by Sri Lanka really wanted the game. They wanted to win. Whereas Pakistan, you could see Fakhr's head was down when he was fielding a couple of balls. He just looped in there when there could have been a run out, because they were constantly hustling to get that second run. That definitely needs to happen in the bowling and the fielding camp, where you take a hard look at where you messed up and improve on it.
Well, this is what I've noticed. Pakistan needs to really where they lacked this tournament, because before that they haven't played any big tournaments, right? They were just playing series, and they were doing good. They were doing they were winning matches, they were winning series, and all the players were performing. Big tournament में आके काफी expose हुए हैं ये. First of all, I exposed the mindset, the mentality that they're coming in with, especially in the big tournaments. It's and rightly so, man. You switch from अगर आप जैसे आप normal series से switch करते हो, एकदम से big tournament में आते हो, which is a knockout tournament. तो आपके पास ये नहीं है कि आपने अब 2 गेम में जीतनी है और अब 1 गेम जीतनी है. You have to pretty much win all the games. Mindset 5 out of 10 maybe. Captaincy, that includes bowling changes, field placements, and this and that. पहले तो ठीक था, सब बाबर आजम की कैप्टनसी को वो भी कर रहे थे. इवन आई वाज मैंने भी कहा था कि कैप्टनसी अच्छी कर रहा है क्योंकि जीत रहे हैं. Results reflect the leadership. Come into the tournament, it's a completely different game, right? You're in a tournament. आप इधर knockout tournament में खेल रहे हो. It's gonna be high paced, 50 overs ऊपर से. Fielding changes, bowling changes, fielding placements. आप क्या लो, they were subpar. They were not kibi up. You can say kibi, oh yes, there's a smart move here, smart move there. ये चीज expose हुई है. तीसरी चीज that I think, the third and the final thing that I think that they're lacking right now in this tournament, that they lacked in this tournament, just tournament में नजर आया कि भी weak है, और वो है spin हमारी जो spin bowling. Even though Shadab and Nawaz, quality spinners, I think, and if Iftikhar, took wickets today, amazing. I'm really happy for him. He needs to do this. If he keeps playing, he needs to keep doing that. But this was too also a point where Captain Babar had to step away from his main spinners, because main spinners, Shadab, literally very disappointing in this tournament. Very disappointing. What's the reason? We don't know. Could be anything. Personal life.
Yeah, he just never got into a rhythm. Too many
to the flow. So, मेरे लिहाज से these three things really exposed from Pakistan side that they really need to work on are their captaincy, their mindset, and spin bowling. Now you look at Sri Lankan side. No, you can say कि आप कह लो कि भी कोई उनके पास वो कोई amazing star power name नहीं है उनके पास कोई, other than maybe Kushal Mendis, who's been playing, and a couple other all their spinners, even Vilalage is pretty new.
Mostly youngsters.
Tekshana is pretty new. Yeah. Mostly youngsters, new team. They come in their mindset and Pakistan's mindset, you can see a complete difference, day and night difference. One of the teams who's supposed to be the underdog coming in and fighting and really bringing the fight to the supposedly favorites of the tournament. ऊपर से you can see, you can check, they have bowling depth and they have batting depth. We almost got the game, maybe not so much as batting, but like definitely bowling. They have bowling, they have quality bowling to contain pretty much any side of any
especially on
side,
these tracks. Yeah.
especially on these tracks. Going to India World Cup, pretty much similar pitches. They're gonna be
similar conditions, similar ground sizes. Yeah.
Similar ground styles and everything. So they have bowling to contain teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what might be a as you can see, they were 160 for 2, something like that, 160 for 2, and they won barely by 2 wickets. That really shows the inexperience, and really shows how you act in the crunch situations. They might be lacking in that part of the cricketing side, but a lot of positives from Sri Lankan side where everybody sees, where people have seen, the world has seen that they can come out and put on a show. Guys like Kushal Mendes, their bowlers, Tikshana, the new youngster Vilalage, and even their opening bowlers are pretty sick. Their opening batsmen are pretty sick. Their middle order, Lanka came in, even though there was an edge on the second last ball, but he came in and he scored 40-30 good cameo runs. Before that, Kusal Mendes again getting out on 90. All I'm saying is, Pakistan versus Sri Lanka, this was supposed to be you can say in a sense, big brother playing against the younger brother. Everybody expects the older brother to win, but the younger brother put up a fight and won. Completely two different mindsets, two different approaches to the game. Yes, Sri Lanka might have had the home advantage, but Pakistan is not a stranger to these conditions. They've played enough cricket. They've played enough cricket in this part of the world. They were playing on the similar conditions.
Yeah, they've been playing there for a very long time.
Yeah, yes. But you guys are not. No, I agree with most of the things that you're saying. So, but I personally feel like it's not time to go into panic mode per se.
Not at all.
If you're Pakistan, you don't need to go into panic mode and start making radical changes. I don't think it's like that. Look, factors were at play, and these are beyond excuses, right? Factors are that these players have been tired, and you know what, when maybe, don't you think, if we as fans are sitting out here and saying, hey, this tournament is not good, do you think that when they're in the dugout, they're not saying, like, when it's constantly raining? Because if you've ever played cricket, there's nothing worse than getting ready to go play cricket and not being able to play cricket. That's the worst feeling ever, right? So don't you think they're sitting there and being like, yo man, if this was in Pakistan or Lahore right now, or Karachi right now, like, it would have been different. So mentally they were beaten, right? So one of the things you said about Shadab Khan, yeah, he did not have a good tournament, but the thing about him is he still put in effort in the field, right? The first run up, the first wicket comes off of Shadab Khan, so he's still putting effort. He knows he didn't do much with the batting or bowling.
I feel like
it's not working out for him, but he was still active. Whereas in you see Fakhar Zaman, he's kind of slouched over. He's not really there.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in his approach. Head was down. I think maybe the fact that they announced that he wasn't playing, and then he ended up playing.
Yeah, the body language of the entire Pakistan team. I don't know what's going on.
They didn't believe. They didn't believe till Iftikhar came in. Run rate slowed down slightly, and some wickets started coming in. If they played with the same intensity that they started playing in the second half of the match, they would have won the match.
Yeah.
But when the opening, when it was like over 100, 150, only 2 down, that's when they were thinking, okay, we've lost the match. Right.
Yeah.
So you're right. The intensity was not there.
Yeah.
So something was wrong with the body language. By the time they fixed it, unfortunately, it was too late. Right.
Yeah, and you see, there's a pattern here, man. Every big tournament they come in, if things are not going their way, they panic they lose the plot. They just, you can see it on their faces that they're really stressed out. You know, from player 1 to player 11, it's like complete. It's like their faces tell a whole different story than what you expect of them. रंग उड़े होते हैं इनके, फील्ड में खड़े होते हैं, गुम हुए होते हैं, you know. आप जब गुम हुए होते हैं तो फील्ड क्या कहते हैं, फिर फील्डिंग भी वैसी होगी, फील्डिंग भी आपकी जो है वो मिस फील्ड होंगी, कैचेस ड्रॉप होंगे. आज उन्होंने कोई इतना कैच ड्रॉप नहीं किया, बट फील्ड में फिर भी इन्होंने थोड़ा बहुत जो है
couple good catches today though. Couple good catches
couple
today.
good catches, but there was a drop by
yeah.
Rizwan. It was a hard chance, I guess. It was a thin enough edge that he should have had that. And that guy ended up scoring and winning the game for them. So one more thing I want to point out is that this is the third tournament in a row that Pakistan has lost in the knockout stage, right? I know it was Super 4, but it was technically a semifinal. So they've lost the T20 World Cup in the final. You know, prior to that, they lost semifinal against Australia, and then now this one as well. So mentality, do you feel like, other than just like the approach to the game, is there anything else that's just missing there? Is there like a certain player that's just missing? Do you? I know they're not going to change the captain at this point, this close to the World Cup, but do you feel like there's something that's not?
No, there's no certain player that's missing. Other than all the puzzle, all the ingredients are there. You just don't have a good chef. And by chef I mean, somebody who can hold the team together even in the tough situations, even in the times when when it feels like you're about to lose. But there's always a way, you can always pull it back. Today they pulled it back. They got 1 wicket down, and then they pulled it back. There's no, like I said, with a couple of changes in the batting and with our players coming back from injuries in the World Cup, in my opinion, I think Pakistan has a very solid, very effective team to compete in a tournament like a World Cup. Whatever the team that played against India in the first game, from that minus Salman Agha, Purin Haris, minus, you can say, pretty Fakhar Zaman, yes, there can always be a debate on that. I personally believe कि भाई यार Fakhar को रखो. There's no point of changing. This far in this close to the World Cup, लेके जाओ, एक दो गेमों में वार्म अप में चेक करो उसको बोल दो कि वार्म अप में आपने परफॉर्म करना है if you want to play in the games. नहीं, अगर आप परफॉर्म कर सके तो पीछे हमारे पास प्लेयर्स हैं, फाइन. But other than that, पाकिस्तान की जो पूरी 1 to 11 है, प्लस 12th लुक, हमारी बेंच उठ के आई है. वसीम जूनियर उठ के आया है, उधर से जमान उठ के आया है.
Didn't do much either. But, do you replace Zaman with Wasim Jr. in the 15?
No, yeah, of course. Zaman has proved himself, right? So yeah, Wasim Jr. was a fill-in, but Wasim Jr. everybody knows he can bowl too. He can't.
I don't think he's an effective bowler in 50 overs. I said this before too. I don't think he's an effective bowler in 50 overs. Just his style of bowling.
Shaheen Naseem Shah and Haris Rauf, yes, he might not be there yet, but Wasim Jr. is still. I agree with you. He's not that potent, but still he's got pace. He's got good skills. He's played enough cricket. He's played for Pakistan and has bowled decently well. But of course, when Haris Naseem and Rauf come back, Naseem Shah and Haris Rauf come back, he's not going to have a place, definitely.
Well, all three players have a history of injury, so you do need a solid backup in the back, right? So in the 15, that's one thing they would be thinking about. Maybe have two pacers in the dugout, right?
We have a lot of we have a lot of pacers in not just in our bench. Guys like Ihsanullah, Zaman, Wasim Jr., Mohammad Hasnan. There's few other guys that are coming out from domestic cricket that are actually pretty solidly fast and effective as well. So pace, there's never going to be a problem for Pakistan, as long as the biggest thing is, like I said, approach to the game. You have to go in and not आप खेलने जा रहे हो बड़े टूर्नामेंट, उसमें अगर आप क्या कहते हैं, अगर आप उसमें जाके बड़े टूर्नामेंट, अगर आप होम सीरीज और इधर उधर आप जो क्या कहते हैं सीरीज खेलने जा रहे हो, तो कभी इधर न्यूजीलैंड कभी इंग्लैंड, उनमें आप फुल एफर्ट डाल के परफॉर्म करके आ रहे हो, और जब वर्ल्ड कप आता है तो आपके मुंह पे 12 बजे होते हैं जब आप एक हाई प्रेशर गेम में उतरते हो. That's the flip. You flip that, you're winning the games, and you're starting to win tournaments, or at least make it to the knockout stages, like semifinals or maybe final.
Yeah, no, and I agree with a lot of that. But one thing that when you talk about Pakistan as a cricket team, right?
Hmm.
You have to understand that there was a point that Pakistan cricket was pretty much just dead, right? There was nothing happening for them. There were no rankings. There was nothing. So this new team that is still coming, I would like to say they're new because how much experience do they really have even on the ODI side? They're just starting to play as an ODI team more and more games now, right? So this team has been built. Babar Azam is the guy who kind of gave your cricket life. He put life back into Pakistan cricket, and that's just a fact. You've never had a Babar Azam before. Many people have touched up on it. Do we have high expectations from him? Yes. But now it's a supporting cast, so now he's starting to get a good supporting cast around him, right? So, like I said, yes, mentality is one of those things. But this goes back, right? Like when they fixed their T20 mentality, it's hard for them to apply to ODI. But if you looked at the innings today, Rizwan and Iftikhar played a great game down the stretch, right? They were getting those runs, but they were also getting the singles. They were playing smart, sensible cricket, right? So that, in true ODI fashions, which was really, really good to see. So it's not like if but when you look at the bowling side and the bowling mentality, if you remember the knockout match with Australia in the T20 World Cup, Haris Rauf had a shitty over, and then Shaheen Shah came and he just got licked in the next over, right? Right after that, right? So just because the match got a little bit away from you, it didn't mean that you couldn't turn it back around. He could have bowled a lot better. So when it comes to that, Shaheen Shah has a lot to learn, right? So he has a lot to learn down the stretch, and that's a conversation that needs to be had. Yes, you keep Fakhar Zaman in the playing 11, but if you're not getting performance, you have to be flexible enough to be able to move him around. I think that's another thing. But apart from that, I think they just need more support than anything else, right? They do need a little bit more
They
support
do need support. Okay,
to get it
yeah,
together.
support from the outsiders. You mean like people,
Look,
or
yeah,
support
I
from?
mean, yes, they lost. Yes, they lost a game to India in a miserable fashion, right? But immediately after that, we were basically so disappointed. Yes, it's a disappointing loss, right? It is a disappointing loss. But immediately, you get all these anchors. Like Pakistan, the ex-Pakistani cricketers are basically all have their own YouTube channels. They're doing nothing but getting on these talk shows and that. And in the age of social media, those tweets are coming around. These guys are reading it. Should they let them affect them? No, they shouldn't, and they try not to. But I guarantee you that has an effect on them. I guarantee you, when it comes to that, right? So,
Humans है यार, सब इंसान है, थोड़ा बहुत वो लगता है, but these guys are also
बिल्कुल.
professional too. Professional players हैं, high level पे खेल रहे हैं, इनको they're not they're doing what they love and they're getting paid for it. So I
Like
mean,
you chose, right? You
this
kind of have to take that.
yeah,
I don't mind that.
criticism, and you're gonna
Absolutely,
have
but
criticism.
you cannot really you can criticize minor things that happened today, but the game that they gave you today, this is a game that you're gonna remember for a really long time. Like that was an incredible game of cricket. That was
Yeah.
an
Yeah,
incredible
well, yeah,
game of cricket,
it
whether
was
you're
an
Sri
amazing
Lanka,
game.
whether you're Pakistan,
Yeah.
right?
जबरदस्त गेम हुई है, देखने में मजा आया. एंड तक आप you're glued to the screens. ये नहीं हो रहा कि भी 256 वो क्या कहते हैं, इंडिया ने 365 बनाया और पाकिस्तान जो है 200 पे ऑल आउट हो
Yeah.
गया. पर वो ये मतलब एटलीस्ट ये देखने को मिला कि एंड तक गए हैं, और मतलब एटलीस्ट ये देखें कि चलो एटलीस्ट फाइट तो की है इन्होंने थोड़ी बहुत. बट यार कसम से, आई स्वेयर, आई एम टेलिंग यू, Bobber really needs to pick up his he really needs to adjust his captaincy
On that
on the
point,
field, man.
Umar,
इसकी captaincy on the field improve
here's
होगी ना
something
तो जाके.
on that point. I just want to point out. So you've been a captain yourself, and at the domestic level, at the local level. So there is 4 PSL captains on that. You know that there's a support staff around you on the field. Your vice captain, your senior players on that floor, right? You got Rizwan, you got Shadab, you got Shaheen, and you got himself, right? Only in like the last 2 overs, really, I saw a lot of them running in and coming in talking, right? prior to that, it was a lot of just turning around, heads down, hand on the face. I saw a lot of that. So I, I think Babur, yes, he needs to improve, but I don't know whether he's not listening to them or they're not approaching to maybe come collectively decide on things or make changes. Maybe somebody sees something. I see Rizwan is active behind the stumps. He's making changes, but I never kind of see that huddle, of just the four kind of coming together and making that decision.
See, on
Okay.
that front, I think sometimes, sometimes what they say is too many chefs spoil the stew sometimes, right? So it's too many different thoughts, and you get double minded. I don't think the help. Yes, of course, you count on your senior players, which they did for the last little bit. But look, this is a day and age of analytics, you guys. This is a day and age of analytics. You got to get the drink boy in. What is your management saying at this point, right? What is your coaching staff saying at this point? What role does that have to play? Because you should get a whisper, hey, try this or try that. You when you're playing in the match, you're experiencing something different. But even now, when we're hearing the commentators, right, like they're sitting there, they're saying, hey, Vasim, you are the coach, what do you do
Right.
now? Right, what do you do now?
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
coming up, and it's pretty close to the predictions, what the bowler is actually really doing, right? So at what point do you say, okay, like football does it, right? You see football does it, NBA does it. The coaches have a role to play, and other teams, when they come out to study, why do you think Rohit Sharma still comes out and goes early to Shaheen? Second match he comes around, and he's playing a complete different game. That happens because of analytics, that happens because of video, right?
Yeah.
And that happens because of good, like, okay, this is what you need to do. And unfortunately, I don't think that they came back with that many adjustments for this match, or they do during the game at all.
Captain,
Yeah.
captain's
No, I completely agree with
captain's
you.
main
Yeah.
job is to hold the team together. He's, when it's like a father figure in the team,
Hmm.
literally. When you're in the team, when you're playing a game, you're supposed to be taking decisions. You're supposed to be looking at what's going wrong. Now look at India-Pakistan game where Pakistan got hit for 356. How many wickets did they lose? 2 wickets. What was the scenario today? 170 or 180 odd for two.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of them was a run out. It wasn't even. You have a Pakistani bowling side, where you have Shaheen Afridi, Zaman, Shadab Khan, even though let's take Shadab Khan out. Still, Nawaz, and what's it
Wasim
called?
Jr.
Wasim Jr. was there too. Now, these guys are lethal bowlers. These guys can bowl at a heavy pace, the fast bowlers, and the spinners. Nawaz, he was pretty good today. Iftikhar took 3 wickets. How can you have 2 straight games with a bowling lineup like this, have 30 overs gone and only 2 wickets? Are you out of your freaking mind, man? You can't take more than 2 wickets with this bowling lineup? Who's to blame? No one else is to blame but the captain himself. But the captain. You cannot blame anyone else. Field was very defensive. You need to take a wicket. You're getting hit for runs. Make adjustments. Make changes. You're in the team. You have. There's like last over.
Eight from six. Yeah.
There's 6. It's like run a ball.
Eight
7
needed
runs or
from
8.
six, I think.
8 runs from 6 balls.
Yeah.
At that point, it's justified. It's
आपके
down to
5 फील्डर बाहर हैं यार. At least 5 अंदर तो रखो ना, 4 बाहर रखो, ताकि
No, I feel like that 2 balls from 6, you need 5 fielders outside. The debate would be whether you put a
No,
third man
not
versus.
really. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can always make adjustments. Like I said, making adjustments is if you make adjustments, you have to. If you need a wicket, if you need
Well, you
results,
definitely
you
need
need
dot balls,
risk.
right? Or not.
Well, dot
You
balls
don't
did.
need a
That's
boundary
what
at
I'm saying.
that
Dot
point,
balls
right?
didn't
That's
help.
different.
There was no dot balls. It was in two straight games. Pakistan were only able to take 2 wickets in 30 overs. 60.
The issue. If
They
you look
just
at
keep bowling.
the
They just
amount of
keep bowling.
boundaries.
It's like they were bowling without a plan.
I don't think. I think I'm going to disagree with you there. I don't think dot balls were the issue. I think it's the boundary balls that are issue. That are these we leaked versus how many boundaries we scored. It's always the other way around. It's always the other team hitting us from that was definitely a problem. And again, more bound, we're hitting Pakistan for more boundaries versus us actually doing that. So the dot balls weren't there because they were stealing a lot of singles and doubles. So that changed the a lot of overs from a 3 to 4 run to a 7 to 8 run over. And I saw that happen over multiple overs where they bowl 3 dot balls and then all of a sudden there's 2 doubles and a boundary, a last ball. So dot balls were there. It's just we didn't close a lot of overs well, or we didn't start a lot of overs well, where we just leaked the boundary first ball or the last ball, right? So that definitely played a huge factor into the score constantly ticking and them just being comfortable. And commentators were talking about that too, where first or second ball they would hit a boundary and they're just so relaxed. The batsman just relaxed. It's like I got a 4, all I need is 3 singles and I'm 7. It was the bowlers. One thing Babar could have done is Nawaz still had an over. I'm above asking. So that was definitely I don't think it was anything Babar could have done there or left, right? So or 2 if he bowls 9, he's your most economical bowler. He's giving 3.7 runs per over. You I know you want to take a wicket, but you should have kept him on instead of Wasim. You brought in Wasim Jr. again in the middle there. You don't need to bring in Wasim Jr. He already gave 13 runs and then he gave another 7 runs after that. You don't need to bring him. If a bowler is bowling 3 runs and over, you keep him on. You let him bowl. I know there's a lefty, but he's just got to the crease. You keep him on. You see
Yeah.
if he can produce that wicket for you.
That's exactly what I'm saying. If your team is not being able to pick wickets for 60 overs, 70 overs, you're always gonna have there's nobody else to you don't speak to anyone else, but you go to the captain. You're like, hey, what are you doing? You haven't for 2 straight games you haven't been able to take wickets in the first 25-30 overs. Why is that happening? Field placements, that single and double you're talking about, you can always control it. You can always plug the gaps. If you have if you have people in the right places according to the game situation, according to the batsman, whoever is playing, you can always plug the gaps and you can always be able to take wickets. If you one game, okay, you're understandable. On international level, if it's 2 games where you haven't been able to get a wicket for these many overs, your approach, when you're captain, what are you worried about? You're worried about the
but Oman, I think that's
over
also
rate, the field placements. You're worried about the bowling change. You're worried about how to keep a certain batsman under pressure. How do you pressure the batsman? These are things you worry about, and these are all the things that play a huge role in controlling the total score in the 50 overs and how you tackle the batting team, right?
But yeah, you have to yeah, I agree with you, but I think when you look at a team like Pakistan, like they haven't been in that situation too many times, right? They usually do not have a problem getting early wickets, right? Or getting wickets along the way. Historically they've been known as a side that can defend small totals, right? So it's a unique situation from them. I think the bowlers really forgot, the basics. When you're not able to get the wicket, you're supposed to also help the captain by just bowling, the basic good line, good length, ball those, and then see what happens. Like you can help out in, yeah. So definitely Pakistan
But
has to go back to the drawing board.
but that unique situation thing, there is no such thing as unique situation. You've been playing cricket for 30 years of your life. You're like, these guys are like, these guys have been in every kind of situation in cricket. By now they should know what to do, and when the situation requires it, what moves to what moves they should be playing next. um, but if I'm just using this as an example of game against India, 356 for 2. Game against Sri Lanka, it was pretty much the same thing, 160 for 2 after like 25-30 overs. If you're not able to take wickets for 2 straight games, where it's constantly, you have a problem because you have bowlers like you said, you have bowlers, right? Pakistan has always been able to take quick wickets, and they always, that's not going to be, you're not going to have, you're not going to have a sunny day every day. Sometimes you're going to be put into the situation where you're going to have to deal with We're gonna have to deal with
I think
adversity.
again I would repeat
We're gonna have to
myself.
deal with the fight back.
I don't think that's Babur's. That's on Babur. I think that if you watch the game truly, you would know that it was the bowlers either bowling a full toss at the wrong time after bowling 2-3 dot balls, or just bowling one down leg, or giving too much weight. So I don't think it's on the captain to control how the bowlers bowl. The only thing he can control is the
This
bowling
was not
changes.
just that. It was not just like full tosses
Yeah,
and Yorkers.
I
It
think
was
guys,
a lot good
I think
shots
without
too. It
getting
was a lot of gaps.
No,
It
no,
was
I'm
a
not
lot. There
saying the
were a lot
batsman
of
didn't do it. I'm
feeling.
just saying what the
Shadab is
cause was.
bowling. Shadab is bowling.
there's
There's
both.
no mid wicket. Are you serious?
Let
You have no mid wicket for Shadab. There was
No, he had a mid wicket. He didn't have a long
deep
on.
square leg.
He didn't have a long on. He had a mid wicket.
In the beginning overs, he didn't have.
you guys look at
The
ultimately,
beginning overs, he didn't have a mid wicket. He
you
had a
know,
long on and then a deep square leg.
look, hindsight is always 2020. You guys, I think as far as Pakistan is concerned, they do have some figuring out to do. I personally, my opinion is you do not have a better captain in the squad than Babar Azam right now, because who do you really replace him with?
There's no talk of replacement. You don't need to
Yeah,
replace him.
so no,
You need to.
so you do play him. You go work on that. You tell him how to be more aggressive. You take a book out of all of the
Yeah,
other sides. You take a book out
he
of their page
definitely
and you be more
aggressive.
aggressive. Yeah,
Exactly,
absolutely, I agree with you. You can be
aggressive
more
is one
aggressive.
word. Aggressive is one word. What
Yeah.
what he should be, he should mature as a captain. He should be
Yes.
more upbeat with the captaincy.
Right.
He needs to be more adjustable. He needs to be more he needs to be more flexible in his captaincy, where he's not just stuck in a way and just hope for things to work, hope for the wicket to fall. I mean, look, you're literally giving these batsmen all these gaps.
Yeah.
You have no trust in one of the best bowling lineups in the world.
But they're
there's
not
no
bowling
slips
their
coming
best
in.
on that particular day. They're not bowling their best.
You bring in Shadab, you bring in Nawaz, new batsmen. When you, let's say, okay, it was Shaheen opened with Zaman Khan. Then came first change of Wasim Jr. When Wasim Jr. came in, there was no slip. Then from the other side, Shadab Khan came in, no slip. What are you doing, brother? You need to have a slip. This is his first over. Give him a slip at least. Now there's no slip. He's so stressed. Babar Azam is so stressed that he's put all his fielders back. New bowlers are coming in. They don't have slip. They don't have an attacking fielder. So they're already coming in. And their mindset is, the captain already thinks I'm gonna get hit, and I'm gonna have to bowl accordingly. Bowlers already under pressure a little bit too.
Do you think the bowlers, like, as you guys have bowled, obviously, right? Do you go to your captain and you say, hey, I want to slip?
No, it's not about that. It's not. Yeah, I'll come to that. Going to the captain and asking for fields is a different thing. Yes.
The captain gets the final call, but I think most of these guys set their own field. As a bowler, you set your own
listen
field.
to Babar Azam, and if they would have asked for slip, I'm pretty sure he would. But at the final call is the captain's call, right? I mean, if I was Shad,
that's a given. Unless you're really not, I don't think they were bowling to their field.
Even if you're setting your own field, as a captain, you'll be like, no.
Yes, you can have an emphasis and be like, hey, let's be more aggressive, right? I need to draw a wicket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's do something crazy.
Drops down to the captain. You put a slip
in. I would go back to the same thing. But singles were leaked through the hands. That he wasn't doing. The bowlers weren't hitting their lines. They weren't doing what they were supposed to do for him to be comfortable with that. I don't think there was anything wrong with that.
I'm talking about when the bowlers are just coming in, first bowl, when they're bowling their first over.
Umair, they have to. You have to end over or outside off. I understand they just came in, but as a team that's defending 250 runs and you gave away 100 runs in 15 overs, and now your bowlers are bowling a full toss at balls available to cut.
Give them a slip.
Umair, it doesn't. If the batsman is set, I don't think you have that luxury to, hey, let me put a slip in. The guy's already hit 8 fours. Don't worry about that though. So if you look at where they bowl,
look, they work and it didn't work, right? The
if you look at where they bowled, none of the balls even went that area.
because they
not
didn't
one
bowl
bowler
there,
bowled
right?
in that
I mean, I
area
get
that you
it. They
could be
didn't
like, hey,
bowl
let me
there.
put a
They
I
didn't
stick there.
think
bowl
I
to the
think we
right.
can without continuing too long. I think we can both agree. We can all agree actually that yes, Babar Azam could have played a more sensible.
Should have.
Should have played a little bit more. Been more involved in his
He should have been
captaincy
more involved in the game. Yes,
in the
he was
game.
not involved in it. He was stressed. You could see it on
Yeah,
his face. Read that low opposite.
instead of trying to
Of
take the
course, yeah.
defensive approach, he should have taken the game head on, and he should have, regardless of whatever was happening, he could have tried some things. Like the other day when I forget if it was the India match or if it was today. Rizwan came in, and I think it was the India match. Rizwan came in, and they brought in a leg slip for Rizwan just to mess with him because he loves playing that shot, right? He loves sweeping and going in that direction. So they captains could do some things like that just to throw the batsman off a little bit. So that could have
100%.
definitely
That's the
happened.
whole game. You don't go off of what's going on. You have a
Yeah,
thing going on. You have something going on in your head. You have a plan. You try. The whole point is to beat the batsman with your captaincy. Bowler is there to do his job. Yes, he's gonna do his job. You know the bowlers. You know what your bowlers do.
yeah,
You still have to beat the batsman with your captaincy. You still have to be smart. You still have to outsmart him. You still
yeah,
have to do whatever. Even if you have to fake it till you get his wicket, you do it. You do whatever you
yeah,
try. In these tournaments, listen. In these tournaments, these big tournaments that you play, you don't play by the book. Oh, now is the time to open the field and just keep it there, and you keep sticking to your own like little playbook or whatever you have like memorized the night before. You can't do that in these big tournaments. You have to be able to take risks. If you're not taking risks, you're not going to get rewards. And that's what Babar Azam really, and I think yes, Babar Azam is the best option for captaincy for Pakistan cricket team. Absolutely, he should be the captain, but he should also improve his captaincy. There's always room for improvement,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
You
And
can't
there's
just
no
be like, oh,
there,
this
there's
is
no
it.
doubt about that. There's no
You
there's
know,
no there's no doubt about that. As a team, they need to improve quite a bit. They need to, it's they've got a little bit of holes in their ship, right? So they got
yeah,
to repair those holes, come back stronger, and you forget what happened already. Let's
yeah.
talk a little bit about let's talk a
What?
little bit about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm just giving you an example. Team India
mhm.
against Sri Lanka in the past game where they were defending 213 runs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched the whole game, or at least the second innings where they were defending.
Hmm.
They were 80 for. Sri Lanka was en route to
Yeah,
a
they were on
to.
par. Yeah.
They were on par. They were going pretty
Yeah.
good. Not once did I see one Indian player stress out.
Yeah.
Not once. Not once in there. They were getting hit for fours. They were still smiling. We're like, oh, we got this under control. That's the mentality, because in their mind, they have a very clear picture of what the end result would be. Even if nobody has seen the future, right? But at least you believe it. You
Yeah.
believe it. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what's gonna happen.
But
What
yeah, yeah, no,
if you
absolutely.
watch the highlights again, you watch how Indian players carry themselves in these big tournaments, how they approach the game when they're on the field. All Pakistan needs to do is at least just take notes. Take notes. That's all he has. This all Babar Azam
Absolutely.
or the whoever their think tanks are before that sit together before the game. This is what we're gonna do. Take notes from Team India.
It's going back to what Ans is saying.
Hmm.
um yeah, absolutely, right. Like, one thing about them is they always come out with the demeanor that they're here to win it.
Hmm.
And it shows confidence in their body language and everything like that. But again, on that day, they did have their bowling lineup backing them up like crazy, like Kuldeep Yadav, right? Coming through. Jasprit Bumrah coming through, right? So that support was definitely there to give you a little bit of that pump. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, of course, yeah, they definitely there's a really funny TikTok about it. They're like, I'm not gonna go about into that, but he's talking about Pakistan players and how they behave on international stage versus how all the other players behave on the international stage. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I laughed, and there's definitely some
I haven't
truth.
watched it, but I'm pretty sure if I watch it, I'll laugh.
It's just about कि हमारे प्लेयर वहां जाते हैं ऐसे यूं करके, बाकी प्लेयर जो होते हैं वो जाते हैं, वो एक दूसरे से मिलते हैं, बैठते हैं, बातचीत करते हैं, वो हैंग आउट करते हैं आपस में, तो हमारे
Guys,
प्लेयर
do
जो
you
होते हैं
think
ऐसे
आपको लगता है
so,
कि पाकिस्तानी players are up to date with what's going on in the world? कि भी किस तरह like लोग आजकल अपने आप को कैरी कर रहे हैं? Because sometimes they really weird me out, man. ये थोड़ा सा weird लगता है कि जिस तरह ये पाकिस्तानी players बंदे
आजकल आजकल अगर आपने लेटेस्ट मगशॉट से देखा है तो आजकल तो जो हमारे सारी क्रिकेट टीम है वो इस्लाम की तरफ उन्होंने रुजू किया हुआ है, विच इज नॉट नेसेसरली बैड
नहीं,
थिंग,
इस्लाम में
लेकिन
रुजू करो
उन्होंने
यार, बिल्कुल करो,
वो
इस्लाम की
देखो
तरफ
ना कि
रुजू
सारे हेयर कट बस कट हुए हुए हैं, तो सारी फ्रेश उम्रे से आ रहे हैं, जैसे खाली
या
उम्रे पे जाके ही आके विन आपको मिल जानी है, तो थोड़ी परफॉर्मेंस भी करनी पड़ेगी, बट आई डोंट नो। आई देखो इतनी जो इंजरीज आ रही हैं पाकिस्तानी प्लेयर्स को, तो इनकी फिटनेस लेवल क्या है, लाइक आई वाज
या
वाचिंग अ शहीन शाह इंटरव्यू, and that guy hates going to the
that
gym.
one dive
He
that he took.
hates going to the gym.
Shaheen.
Shaheen Shah Afridi, right? He's like, ye ke baad. So the training camp for him is like, oh my god, like ye kya ho raha hai mere साथ, right?
आज
And
फिर उसका कुछ ना कुछ पुल होने वाला था, कोई
yeah,
वो
fitness is a concern.
that
Fitness
one
is a
dive that he
concern
did,
with that.
उसके बाद मुझे लगा वो लो जी ये भी गया जी, चलो
यार पता है आपको,
अभी फिर हम
मैं
स्पिन से
आपको
ही
एक
ओपन
थोड़ा सा
करेंगे और स्पिन से ही
So
एंड होगा।
yeah,
मैं थोड़ा सा आपको ना एक कंट्रोवर्शियल टेक दे देता हूँ एक और,
as a
ठीक है?
Pathan,
जो आधे से ज्यादा आपका बॉलिंग अटैक है ना वो पठान है, थोड़े से
yeah,
डग्गे दिमाग के ये लोग हैं,
Yeah.
ठीक है?
yeah, no,
I'm
तारों की
saying
शक्ल
this,
पे
these
वही
are my
था
own
एक
people too, you know,
As a
as a
Pathan
as a
yourself,
Pathan myself. So I'm telling you,
छोड़ेगा नहीं।
they cannot think right in some crucial situations. They just think like we have to go hard, like that's what we're doing. We're going hard, and sometimes that is not the right approach to go to. You have to be calculated. So
emotional हो जाते हैं these they have to I
a
think
little bit
Pakistan
just
team
the way.
what is
Yeah, I know what
अफगानिस्तान
you
की
mean.
याद आई
PCB
थोड़ी
if
सी
you're
आज जब
listening please
अफगानिस्तान पाकिस्तान से हारी थी in a crucial
Yeah,
match.
yeah
Did you guys feel a little bit of that Afghanistan flashback as Pakistan?
uh,
A little bit of that.
वो जो क्या कहते हैं जो इस तरह आ रही थी
जब
लास्ट
जीतते
ओवर में
जीतते
वो जो
हार गए
T20
बिल्कुल
में
लास्ट में, ये जो पिछली सीरीज हुई है,
नंबर
पता
वन
क्या है,
पर
वो आपको, जैसे आप अंडर 16 में, जैसे ही आप पाकिस्तान के लिए अंडर 16 खेल रहे हो या अंडर 19 खेल रहे हो, उसी टाइम से आपका एक करिकुलम स्टार्ट हो जाना चाहिए, चाहे आप एक दिन फ्यूचर क्रिकेट में आपका बनता है या नहीं बनता, इवन फर्स्ट क्लास के लिए अच्छा है, ठीक है? यू शुड बी एनरोल्ड इन सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अ प्रोग्राम जिधर आपको वो चीजें
so
ये सिखानी शुरू करें, right, at a young age, right? How to carry yourself, how to market yourself, और
basically
प्लेयर्स को
how to
बताना कि यार
how to
represent
आपके भी
market.
मैनेजर्स होने चाहिए, ठीक है?
100%
आपके भी मैनेजर्स होने चाहिए, मैनेजमेंट होनी चाहिए जो आपको कमर्शियल ला के दे, ये नहीं कि आप इतने बड़े हो जाएं तो फिर आपको जाके मिले. These guys all have managers, right? They have booking managers and stuff like that.
the
So
day
why
these
can't you?
players the day these players learn how to represent Pakistan and how to what's it called how to improve the image of Pakistan by improving their own image, not just as a cricketer. Everybody knows they can play cricket, but as an off-the-field cricketer, off-the-field Pakistani representative. पाकिस्तान के पास endorsement भी आना शुरू हो जाएंगी. पाकिस्तान के पास क्या कहते हैं पाकिस्तान को क्या कहते हैं recognize भी करना शुरू कर देंगे पाकिस्तानी players को around the globe. उसके अलावा ये पाकिस्तान क्या कहते हैं tournaments भी consistent basis पे जीतने लग जाएगा. I can guarantee you that.
यार
Just
आप
because
यही चीज हुई है ना,
they lack how to represent. Nobody really, if they don't want to be visible, they're not going to be seen. They're invisible to the rest of the other teams. Even Sri Lankan players, yaar, look at the way they carry themselves. It's
यार
Bangladesh
अल्टीमेटली
players, the way they carry, even their teams have, but a lot of their players, they know how to speak, how to mingle with the cricketing community, right? जो broader cricketing community है, जो elite cricketing community है. Indian players, everybody knows. You can just watch any Indian player and you will learn a lot from them. कि भाई यार
यार
अपने
उसके
आप
लिए
को कैसे like अपने आप का अपना image क्या रखना है, अपने आप को कैसे expose करना है दुनिया के सामने, because you're not playing gully cricket anymore. You gotta understand, you're playing you've been watched, yaar. how can you be invisible playing in front of half of the world? It's just something
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I mean, देखो एक टाइम था, and you know these guys will talk about it in their books, right? Wasim Akram वगैरह जो थे, जो एक टाइम था, they got a lot of love because they were so great at what they do. They got a lot of love in
And
Australia, in
those
England, in
Wasim
West
Akram,
Indies.
Shoaib Akhtar, Waqar
Hmm.
Yunus,
Yes.
guys like Amir Sohail, guys
Yeah.
like Saeed Anwar,
Hmm.
Inzamamul Haq, Shahid Afridi.
Hmm.
These guys knew how to carry themselves. These guys knew how to put themselves in front of the world, right?
And
How to carry themselves. They knew.
यार पता क्या अल्टीमेटली, उमेर, अगर देखा जाए ना, देखो अल्टीमेटली क्रिकेट शुड बीन अ गेम दैट इज यूनाइटिंग पीपल, राइट?
Mm,
आपको साथ लेके आना चाहिए था क्रिकेट
mm,
को। जहां पे पॉलिटिकल चीजें नहीं हो रही, वहां पे क्रिकेट आपको यूनाइट कर सकती थी। देखो एक टाइम पे आपको पाकिस्तान के सारे सिंगर्स जो थे,
mm,
उनको उतनी सक्सेस पाकिस्तान के अंदर नहीं मिली।
mm,
इंडिपेंडेंटली अभी भी वो लगे हुए हैं, लेकिन you have some big names when they crossed over, went into Bollywood, they
mm,
became a big name,
mm,
right? India and Pakistan was kind of synonymous side by side.
mm,
So I think this whole Asia region, right? It really needs to figure this shit out.
mm.
That's what I would have to say. Just
In
figure
what
your shit out.
sense?
यार in all sense, right? Like in all sense, like stop this bullshit के like यार आप हम वहां पे जाके क्रिकेट नहीं खेलेंगे, ठीक है?
Oh,
If anything, the
bro,
point should
these.
be कि यार go play cricket there. So
Hmm.
just because you go play cricket there, maybe आपके मुल्कों के हालात जो हैं वो बेहतर हो जाए, शायद,
Yeah,
you know.
these are the things that are basically आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं है ये एज अ टीम की बात कर रहा हूँ, पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट टीम की, कि ये चीज़ें आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं है कि कौन कहाँ खेलना चाह रहा है, कौन नहीं खेलना चाह रहा। अब देखो ना, उन्होंने कह दिया नहीं खेलना, तो बस फिर ठीक है, नहीं खेलना, श्रीलंका करो, वो हो गया। और जो
लेकिन यही तो
पॉलिटिक्स
बात
है,
है, देखो
और जो
अगर आपने अपना
पॉलिटिक्स है,
स्टैंड
दैट्स नेवर
बनाना है
गोना
ना
लीव।
दुनिया में,
वो
नहीं,
पॉलिटिक्स।
अगर आपने अपने आप को कैरी करना है ना, अगर आपने अपने आप को कैरी करना है और अगर आपने ये कॉन्फिडेंस लेके आना है, सो यू हैव टू हैव आई डोंट गिव अप एटीट्यूड, राइट? उसमें उस आई डोंट गिव अप में ये होता है कि यार कैसे हो सकता है कि इंडिया जो है सारे सारे मैचेस अपने एक ही स्टेडियम के अंदर खेलेगा, उन्होंने कोई ट्रैवल नहीं करना और आपने कुत्तों की तरह लूर लूर घूमना है। ये क्या बात हुई? ठीक है। और आपके पास क्यों नहीं गट्स आ रहे? ये बात हमने पहले भी की भी, आपके पास क्यों नहीं इतने गट्स कि आप कहो यार अगर तुम लोगों ने ये करना है तो हम भी नहीं खेलते। ठीक है, ना खेलो यार, एक साल अगर आप वर्ल्ड कप में ना खेलो तो क्या हो जाएगा? अगला T20 जाके खेल लेना कहीं और, जब कहीं और हो रहा होगा।
सही बात है यार, आई एग्री विद दैट, कि भी
मेरे
यू हैव टू
मेरा
स्टैंड
एक
योर ग्राउंड।
कनेक्शन ऑन
आपने
द
अपना।
ग्राउंड है, मैं आपको बताऊं, अहमदाबाद के अंदर मेरे मेरे इंडिया के अंदर कनेक्शन है, ठीक है? वो कहता है कि पाकिस्तान इंडिया की गेम के लिए ना, ठीक है, होटल तो क्या, घर तो क्या, लोगों ने हॉस्पिटल के कमरे बुक करने शुरू कर दिए, क्योंकि उस जगह के उस वेन्यू के लिए उनके पास जगह ही नहीं है इतने लोगों को सपोर्ट करने के लिए। सो तो अगर इतना इतना अगर ये दुश्मन मुल्क है, ठीक है, और इतना ही आप इनको नहीं इनके साथ खेलना चाहते या कुछ नहीं करना चाहते, व्हाई इज द क्राउड सो क्रेजी अबाउट दिस गेम देन?
दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग, वो हमेशा ही रहेगा एंड वो कभी वो आगे पीछे नहीं होने वाला।
तू मुझे बता, वर्ल्ड कप हो सकता है? वर्ल्ड कप ओडीआई वर्ल्ड कप हो सकता है पाकिस्तान के बगैर?
नो, देयर इज नो वे यार। पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ आप कैसे वर्ल्ड कप सोच ही नहीं सकते आप? पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ वर्ल्ड कप, आप एशिया कप ही नहीं सोच सकते पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ। वो तो खैर चलो छोटे स्केल पे, आप वर्ल्ड कप ही नहीं सोच सकते पाकिस्तान के बगैर। पाकिस्तान के बगैर वर्ल्ड कप हो नहीं सकता। पाकिस्तान के बगैर वर्ल्ड कप होगा फीका सा वर्ल्ड कप होगा, बेस्ट प्लेयर्स दुनिया के टॉप। इसी तरह सेम थिंग आईपीएल आईपीएल में तुझे क्या लगता है व्यूअरशिप बढ़ेगी जब पाकिस्तानी प्लेयर्स खेलेंगे या नीचे होगी?
एब्सोल्युटली बढ़ेगी।
वो तो
और वो
इंडिया
एक
के
टाइम
तो
पे था,
और
एक
इंडिया।
एक टाइम पे आईपीएल ने आपको बड़ी अच्छी फीलिंग दी थी, आपको यूरो लीग की आपको फील आ गई थी कि फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम एवर आपको अपने फेवरेट प्लेयर्स आपको एक दूसरे के साथ एक ही टीम के अंदर खेलते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। जो शुरू के 2-3 सीजन है, लाइक आई एंजॉयड देम थॉरली, लाइक तो
कह रहा हूँ कि पाकिस्तान को हैवीली भी नहीं, माइनर इन्वेस्टमेंट करनी चाहिए। एटलीस्ट उन प्लेयर्स को बिठा के एक प्रोग्राम होना चाहिए जिसपे उनको बताया जाए कि आपने अपने आप को कैसे दुनिया के साथ इंटरेक्ट करना है, कि आपके पाकिस्तान की इमेज जो है वो इम्प्रूव हो। जब इमेज इम्प्रूव होगी तो आपकी जो है वो कहने और करने में भी थोड़ा वजन आएगा, फिर दुनिया आपकी बात को सुनेगी भी,
कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा ना।
कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा
वो
यार
वो यही
ना।
बात है।
उस दुनिया को छोड़ो, जब आप अपने आप को कैरी करोगे ना, जब आप में कॉन्फिडेंस होगा तो वही चीज रिफ्लेक्ट होगी आपकी ऑन द फील्ड। आप फिर जो टूर्नामेंट, जो आपके हाई प्रेशर टूर्नामेंट होते हैं ना, उसमें आपके मुंह पे 12 नहीं बजेंगे। फिर आप लोग जब खेल रहे होगे ना, तो आपके पास आपके जहन में वो क्लस्टर नहीं हुआ होगा कि यार अब क्या करना है, अब मैं क्या करूँ। आपके पास एक क्लियर पिक्चर होगी, वो क्लैरिटी आ जाती है आपके जहन में।
यार वही वाली बात है ना, देखना कि वो एक बंदे का इंटरव्यू हो रहा था, उसमें वो आके उसको बोलते हैं कि जी पाकिस्तान टीम के बारे में आपका क्या ख्याल है। वो कहते हैं कि जी पाकिस्तान टीम जो है वो इतनी इतनी निकम्मी टीम है कि उनके अंदर जीरो कॉन्फिडेंस है, ठीक है। तो बाकी सारे प्लेयर्स जो होते हैं वर्ल्ड स्टेज के ऊपर इकट्ठे होते हैं, तो हमारे प्लेयर जो होते हैं वो कोने में खड़े होते हैं कि शायद हमें कोई अंदर बुला ले या हमसे भी कोई बात कर ले, ठीक है। तो ये पहली चीज तो इससे आ जाएगी कि यार अगर आपको अपने आप को कैरी नहीं करना आता, या अगर आपको प्रॉपरली इंग्लिश नहीं बोलना आता, तो वो आपसे प्रॉपर कोई सवाल कर रहे होंगे, आप हेलो हाँ जी यस नो यस करेंगे, जैसे कि वो कोई वो कोई हॉट लड़की है और आप उससे बात करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो,
या
सो दैट प्लेज अ फैक्टर।
सही
लेकिन
बात।
यार एक एक उसमें ये भी चीज है ना कि देख अभी एक टाइम था कि 2007 से पहले तक पाकिस्तान और इंडिया की फैसिलिटीज ऑलमोस्ट सेम थी, ठीक है। जब आई एम टॉकिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्रिकेटिंग ग्राउंड्स, ठीक है। अब तू देख के अब इंडिया की क्रिकेटिंग फैसिलिटीज और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर देख ले और पाकिस्तान का देख ले, क्योंकि फंडिंग ही कोई नहीं आई पिछले 10 15 20 सालों से, कोई फंडिंग ही नहीं आ रही आपके पास, तो आपने किधर इंप्रूव करना है। इन लोगों के पास इतने पैसे नहीं आ रहे कि ये लोग जो है कोई ढंग का कोई जो है वो टूर होस्ट कर लें, तो ये कहाँ से अपने प्लेयर्स के अंदर इन्वेस्ट करेंगे। और पाकिस्तानी ये वो पीसीबी ये बैठ के नहीं सोच रहा कि हमने प्लेयर्स में कैसे इन्वेस्ट करना है। इनकी वो मेंटालिटी नहीं गई, प्लेयर की डेवलपमेंट तो तू भूल जाना। ये लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए प्लेयर की वो तो होती नहीं, डेवलपमेंट नहीं होती। आज चार जो डिसीजन मेकर होंगे वो एक बंदे के खिलाफ हो जाएं तो कल को वो टीम से बाहर है, तो उन्होंने
100%।
क्या डेवलपमेंट करके इतना
या
फायदा क्या करना उन्होंने।
या
Going forward, I mean, 3 हफ्तों में तो आपको वर्ल्ड कप आ रहा है. So, going forward, कोई any thoughts on the team, on the management, any parting, 2 cents you want to put in, chip in? What are you looking forward to in the World Cup? Uh, Considering Pakistan team or just overall, I think in the World Cup, क्या आपकी सोच है क्या? What is some matchup that you're looking forward to? You're like, yo, that's going to be the one to watch out for.
यार देखो, ये इंडिया जब जा रहे हैं, ठीक है, तो अब अगर उमर ने अच्छी बातें कर दी हैं, ठीक है, मेंटालिटी की बात हो गई हुई है, ठीक है, कैप्टनसी की बात हो गई हुई है, ओवरऑल प्लेयर्स को हाउ दे शुड कैरी दमसेल्व्स वो भी बात एक हो चुकी हुई है, ठीक है। ये चीज़ बहुत ज़रूरी है, स्पेशली जब आप इंडिया के अंदर हैं, ठीक है। क्राउड का प्रेशर बहुत होगा, ठीक है। हर गेम जो होगी वो आपके लिए बेसिकली आपने हर गेम खेलनी है, जैसे डू और डाई आपने खेलना है,
या
ठीक है। स्पेशली अगर आप देखें, आप कुछ ना भी करें, इतनी एफर्ट ना भी करें, तो आप किसी ना किसी तरह तो नॉकआउट स्टेज के ऊपर पहुंच ही जाते हैं पाकिस्तान को,
या
इवन अगर आप फेवरेट ना भी हो, ठीक है।
या
अब आपका जो अगला ऑब्जेक्टिव है ना, कि आप 3 4 दफा नॉकआउट स्टेज से बाहर हो गए, अब आपने फाइनल खेलना है, ठीक है। और फाइनल को आपने यू हैव टू सी थ्रू,
Yeah.
राइट। तो पाकिस्तान को इस चीज के ऊपर फोकस करना चाहिए कि हाउ आर दे गोइंग टू सी इट थ्रू, ठीक है। और जो बड़े मैच के प्लेयर्स हैं उनको बड़े मैच का प्लेयर बनना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके पास फखर जमान है, तो फखर जमान नीड्स टू गो ऑफ, ठीक है। और
Yeah.
इवन देखो यहाँ पे मैं इतना भी कहता हूँ, मैं लास्ट बंदा हूँ जो बाबर को इतना क्रिटिसाइज करूं। मैं इतना यूजुअली उसे क्रिटिसाइज नहीं करता, बिकॉज़ आई अंडरस्टैंड कि उसने ही हैज अ लॉट टू डू, लेकिन बाबर हैज टू बी अ बिग मैच प्लेयर एज वेल, ठीक है। इन सम सिनेरियोज ही, बिकॉज़ ही इज योर गो टू गाय, ठीक है। तो अ लॉट हैज टू कम फ्रॉम हिम, राइट। यू नीड टू, अगर आप ओडीआई नंबर 1 रैंकिंग टीम हो और आप वर्ल्ड कप के अंदर जा रहे हो, ठीक है, तो आज एज अ ओडीआई नंबर 1 बैट्समैन आपने अगर बनना है, तो आपने वहां जाके चौके छिक्के मारो, ताकि पता चले कि जी पाकिस्तान से कोई लोग आए हैं यहाँ पे सलाम दुआ करने के लिए, खाना शाना खाने के लिए, तो चाय शाय पिला के उनको भेजना आपने वापस। सो होपफुली दैट्स
वर्ल्ड कप
माय
के लिए,
थॉट्स फ्रॉम
वर्ल्ड कप के लिए
पाकिस्तान।
यार देख बात सुन, ये कोई गली की क्रिकेट नहीं हो रही कि आप वर्ल्ड कप में जा रहे हो और आप वही बस मुंह उठा के जी पहुंचो, तो उसके बाद क्या कहते हैं केक शेक, और फिर क्या कहते हैं हाथ मिलाना, और फिर उसके बाद क्या कहते हैं जफियां डालना उधर सारे
हाँ
प्लेयर से जाके पूरे, पहले एक तो पूरे पूरे ग्राउंड का टूर लगाना है ना कि भी इंडिया के प्लेयर्स इधर हैं, फिर ऑस्ट्रेलिया के उधर हैं, फिर न्यूजीलैंड के, इंग्लैंड के उधर हैं, सबसे जाके सलाम दुआ करके फिर वापस आना है। यू हैव टू शो दैट यू गोइंग देयर टू विन।
मैं तो किसी से बात ही ना करूं यार, कोई मेंटालिटी नहीं है कि कोर्ट के ऊपर आते ही जैसे मैच ये टूर्नामेंट शुरू हुआ है, किसी प्लेयर से बात ही ना करो, किसी और टीम से बात ही ना करो, स्टिक टू द बिजनेस, बी फोकस्ड, 100% फोकस्ड, कि हमने किसी और से बात ही नहीं करनी, जब जीत जाएंगे तब सबको कंग्रेचुलेट
कर
कर
लो,
देंगे,
उसके बाद
अभी
जो
तक
करना है
कुछ नहीं
टूर्नामेंट में
करेंगे।
आप बेशक नॉकआउट स्टेज में भी निकल जाते हो, आप ग्रुप स्टेज में भी निकल जाते हो, उसके बाद जितनी मर्जी आपने गप्पे शप्पे लगानी है जिस मर्जी के साथ, उसके साथ लगाओ। आप उधर खेलने, क्रिकेट खेलने जा रहे हो कि आप उसको क्या कहते हैं मिलने जा रहे हो? अगर आपने मिलने जाना है, उन प्लेयर्स को पर्सनल मैसेज करो और जाके उनसे मिल लो, और फिर उसके बाद आगे क्रिकेट खेल लो।
तो सबसे पहले हमसे कमेटी बिठा जो इनके बैग चेक करे कि बीच में कोई तोहफे नहीं जा रहे,
हाँ
पहली बात तो
बिल्कुल,
ये
सबसे पहले
ठीक है।
सबसे पहले तोहफे, उसके बाद
सब
केक ऑर्डर सारे कैंसिल।
सबसे पहले या इनकी बेकरी के बिल चेक करो, ये जो
बेकरी के बिल,
ये जो केक्स
वहाँ
मंगवाते हैं,
बजट कहीं से कम करना है तो वहां से
ये
बजट कम करो,
या
ठीक है, एक्स्ट्रा
इनके
करिकुलर
केक्स के
एक्टिविटी
एक्सपेंसेस
से।
खत्म करो, इनके ये जो गिफ्ट शिफ्ट्स हैं ये खत्म करो, इनके ये जो दूसरों के साथ ये गप्पे शप्पे लगाने हैं और उसके जो ये जो इनकी जो अदाएं हैं ये खत्म करो।
ये
हाँ
क्या
वही
बिहाइंड द सीन वाला कैमरा मैन है ना, इसको जरा अगवा करो 2 महीने 2 के लिए ना, इसको जरा
हाँ
साइड पे
ये
पकड़ो।
पकड़ो, ये जो
तुम तो इधर
बताते हैं
आओ
ना कि
ना।
भी हर प्लेयर हमारा किधर जा रहा है और जी कर क्या रहा है, और
हाँ
हमारी एक
भाईजान,
तो
इनको
हम
चले जाना चाहिए साइलेंस मोड के अंदर, इनकी तरफ से पाकिस्तान कैंप की तरफ से कोई खबर आई ना अब कि क्या पाकिस्तान
क्या
का
पाकिस्तान
अनाउंस
एक
हुआ है,
सा
क्या पाकिस्तान का
हाँ।
अनाउंस नहीं हुआ। इनको बिठाया जाए डंडा पकड़ के, इनको वीडियो दिखाई जाए कि जी ऑस्ट्रेलिया से आपने खेलना है, न्यूजीलैंड से आपने खेलना है, साउथ अफ्रीका से
या
आपने खेलना है, इंडिया से आपने खेलना है, श्रीलंका से आपने खेलना है, बांग्लादेश से आपने खेलना है, अफगानिस्तान से आपने खेलना है, तो चवल जहां पे मारी वहां पे डंडा।
यार वो जो मैं प्लेयर डेवलपमेंट की बात कर रहा था ना, वो एग्जैक्टली यही है। इनको बताओ
हाँ
कि सीरियस कैसे होते हैं यार।
हाँ।
लोग दुनिया में अपने आप को जब कैरी करते हैं वो सीरियस होते हैं ये टूर्नामेंट्स के बारे में, तो वो कैसे होते हैं, वो यही
और
देखो।
और यार ऑस्ट्रेलियंस को आपने वही, ये एक शुएब अख्तर की मुझे ये अच्छी लगती है, वो कहता है यार एक जमाना था जो फास्ट बॉलिंग का जमाना था, पता चलता था भागते हुए आ रहे हैं, पता चलता था फास्ट बॉलर आ रहा है, ठीक है। तो ये जो अब ये जो है ये ठीक है, अग्रेशन लेके आओ बीच के अंदर थोड़ी सी, कि यार पता चले कि जी शहीन शाह अफरीदी आए हैं, ठीक है।
यार एग्रेशन
तो
करते हैं यार, लेकिन ये फजूल 2 नंबर फेक
यार
एग्रेशन
ये
इनका
ओनली
यार।
वो
अग्रेशन अपनी
ये
अग्रेशन
बॉलिंग
में
में
तो
करो
बैक
ना।
स्पेजम आ रहे हैं भाई,
वही वो
उधर ही
ये
तो
वो वाला
मनी
हो
यार
इंजरी
गया, ये
आ रही
वो वाला
है।
अग्रेशन
एग्रेशन
बॉलिंग
है
में
कि
करो
भाई
ना,
यूं
खड़े
यूं
होके
करके
यूं अपने
आंखें
मसल नहीं
दिखाना,
फ्लेक्स
और
करो
फिर
जो
जी क्या
है नहीं
कहते हैं,
आपके पास।
और फिर जी दो यूं करके आंखें दिखा के, और फिर और उनको क्या कहते हैं, फिर 2-3 वो निकल ये वो कह के 2 ओवर बाद अपनी टांग पकड़ के बाहर आ रही हो। ये एग्रेशन नहीं होता, ये होता है कि भी आपकी बेइज्जती होगी है यार।
यार
आप
एग्रेशन ये होता है कि आप अगर 140 पे कर रहे हो तो आप कोशिश करो कि यार मैं अभी 1-2 किलोमीटर और स्पीड कैसे निकालूं,
या
दो में बाउंसर निकालूं, एक में यॉर्कर मारूं, अगले को पता चले कि वैरायटी आ रही है मेरे पास और सारी
बिल्कुल,
पेस के ऊपर आ रही है।
एग्रेशन ये होता है कि आप बॉल कराओ और आप क्या कहते हैं, और आप बैट्समैन को आउट स्मार्ट करो,
हाँ
ये एग्रेशन होता
बिल्कुल
है। बेशक आप
बिल्कुल।
मुंह से कुछ ना बोलो, बेशक आप थोड़ी बहुत आंखें दिखा लो, ज्यादा ना दिखाओ, बेशक आप क्या कहते हैं उसको जाके क्या कहते हैं ज्यादा ही मुंह पे आके, पहले तो आपने गिफ्ट्स देने, फिर आप उसकी आंखों में आंखें मिला के उसको गुस्से से देख रहे हो यार ये कहाँ, वो बेशक ना करो। आउट स्मार्ट करो बैट्समैन को, उसको टेक हिज विकेट and let him know that you mean business. You don't meet him after the game or before the game and you shake hands and you exchange gifts. You go out there, you're focused on the tournament. You all you're doing is thinking about what to do the morning after, when you're playing even teams like, even if it's Zimbabwe or if it's Australia, it doesn't matter who it is. You go in there, you play the game of cricket the way it should be played. You make a plan, you keep the plan in your mind, as every individual player on the field. Captain has his plan, you have your own plan as well in your mind, and they should be complementing each other, those two plans. You go out there, you do your stuff, you go right back, you go right back to the drawing board until the tournament is over. Not when the game is over, not when the group stage you're happy to make it to the knockout stage. You're satisfied when the tournament is done. When tournament is done, doesn't matter where that is for you, even in the group stage, in the knockout stage, or ahead, you literally wake up out of that reality of that tournament once the tournament is over. You don't do it before that. This needs to be instilled in the minds of these players. If these guys don't get it, I don't see them winning this
Yeah,
tournament either.
yeah. No, I think all 15 need to be just on the exact same page which you
Hmm.
mentioned. कि सारे
वेल
आप एक goal है आपका, you already know what it is. The
Come
whole
in,
nation knows
you
what it
come in
is, and
hard,
you go
you
hard.
come in
Yeah,
focused, you come in prepared, you
yeah.
come in, doesn't matter you get hit with injuries, doesn't matter you get hit with whatever 300 runs, you stay focused, you will overcome any adversity.
ठीक है.
I don't want to
अब
sound like
मेरी
Coach Carter right now, but like trust me, that's what they need. They need to
मैं
watch
I
that.
did that.
देखो
I
मेरी
did
जो
that.
I did
मेरी
that.
जो प्रोडिक्शन है वो तो पहले की गलत हो गई है. अब मैं एक और प्रोडिक्शन करता हूँ. ठीक है.
कोई नहीं, हाफ अभी भी हो सकती है, आपको कोई
आप
टेंशन नहीं.
अब अगली प्रोडिक्शन अब ये आ रही है कि जी अगर आप जाते हैं वर्ल्ड कप के अंदर एंड यू शिट द बेड, ठीक है, तो अगली अप्रोच सिर्फ यही रह जाती है. पाकिस्तान टीम अपना फोन उठाए, नजम शेट्टी साहब, ठीक है, MS धोनी को फोन लगाएं और बोलें कि जी हमें कोच की जरूरत है और हमें वो आके हमारे प्लेयर डेवलपमेंट कर दें. ठीक है. तो ये नेक्स्ट अप्रोच होनी चाहिए.
It's a complete flip.
यार एक नहीं, मेरी
अच्छा.
बात सुन. अगर ये टीम नहीं जीतती, ठीक है, तो हम जाएंगे प्रोपोजिशन लेके PCB के पास और जो हमारी लिस्ट है, ठीक है, नॉट 11 की, हम वो प्रेजेंट करेंगे कि पूरी की पूरी टीम चेंज करके नॉट 11 को खिलाया जाए और फिर देखें कि रिजल्ट क्या आता है.
वो बना ली लिस्ट.
बन रही आज 4-5 प्लेयर तो हो ही गए.
You know, one-on-one coaching.
If Kaptan was not behind bars, Kaptan would have tweeted and that tweet would have changed everything. हौसला आ जाता.
That's possible.
इस कौम को कोई नहीं बदल सकता
Free my man, Kaptan.
जब तक ये कौम खुद नहीं बदले अपने आप.
That is true. Chalo, that is it for today's episode.
No, that's
By the
will-
way, guys, I just
No,
want
you
to
have one more
congratulate.
prediction?
No, I
No
don't.
predictions. I'm not making
No
more
predictions.
I'm not
We're
making
done.
predictions. I think I see India. I'll make one prediction though. I'll see India winning this tournament, this Asia Cup 2023. I want to congratulate both these teams, India and Sri Lanka. They have played exceptional cricket, especially India. India has played. They were dealt with the same conditions, but they have come out an amazing team.
No.
Both
I think Sri Lanka might take it, bro.
India,
on
no,
the field
India
and off the
wins.
field.
India wins the Asia Cup, goes back to India on a high horse. They're hosting the World Cup, and they might just do it again.
They might do it again.
At home?
You mean they're winning the World Cup?
At home?
No further comments.
Alright, boys.
I see Pakistan India final in the World Cup, but I'm not gonna make it an official prediction yet. But this is just for the kicks and spice.
I'm gonna save this one. I'll save this one on the side.
Yeah, but what's it called? Yes, congratulations to both India and Sri Lanka. Definitely gonna be a good cricket game.
Congratulations.